It's the Two Gems Podcast.
And go. Welcome back to the Two
Hey.
Gems Podcast. We have tried to restart this now 3 times. We had a lovely interruption by my father-in-law. He was dropping some stuff off to get the wiring going in our backyard. So now we're a little off, but here we are.
We're here. We're doing
here.
things. We're back. It's been a while. What happened? There's a legitimate excuse.
Well,
The fires came. And then the schools were shut down, and then Sage was out of daycare for a month and everything, and all of our plans and everything got all messed up. And
I mean, it could have been much worse. So we are very grateful that we are back here and we are in the studio. Matt also had a microphone cord issue. If you've been listening to the episodes leading up to this, there were a couple moments where he was on a rant of some sort, and all of a sudden it was I don't know, like what happens? It was just connecting to the videos instead of the mic, or
I don't know. I don't know what was going on with it. There was just like, I'm hoping what it is. I'm hoping it wasn't the microphone and it was just the cord. Because I can't even say that for certain. Like, we bought a new cord and it's all plugged in. Fingers crossed, but I don't know. This could get messed up too.
all right.
Fingers crossed.
So we're hoping that this is all good. I did really quickly, and it's funny because I feel like I'm not the type of person to necessarily do this, but I did want to say that the Coast Awards are happening, and Matt was actually the one to bring it up. Last year, it was actually quite an honor. I had no idea. I didn't realize that people just nominate, and then you go on like with the nominees and decide who.
Yeah.
So I was nominated for Best Instagram Account. I didn't win. Who cares? That's not the point.
Who
it was
won?
Alicia McCarville.
Yeah.
But it was just so exciting to even be nominated. What a cool thing. I had no idea. And then I went to go look at them because they were finally out and everybody could vote. And I was like, oh my God, there's me.
God, vote me in for Best Instagram.
So that was awesome. And this year they're I think they're still going on right now, the nominations.
They just started again, I think.
Okay. And Matt was like, oh my God, wouldn't it be so cool if we were nominated for Best Podcast?
Probably get an episode.
Yeah, here we are. So if you do that sort of thing and you're interested and you think that we are lovely, it would be amazing if you nominated for us for it. Because there's a Rage River party, apparently. Even if you come like third, you still get invited and it's a time. And I would just love to go. It would be so fun.
Yeah, it would be a blast. I've never gone. I've heard of it.
You've never gone? Well, no, I guess you wouldn't have gone. But one cool thing that you did win one time was the Ice Awards.
Yeah.
And that was probably like something that you've done here in the city, your biggest accomplishment. And there was like a party for it, right? Like what exactly was the Ice Awards?
Well, I mean, it's the Ice Awards are like the biggest like advertising awards on this side of the country, anyway. And
On the side of the country. It's
Well,
not
yeah.
just Nova Scotia?
no, I mean, I don't know what the rules and regulations are, but I mean, it's all the maritime provinces. So like Newfoundland wins a bunch of stuff with their tourism and everything. But yeah.
And what did you win for again?
Well, I've won a few. The biggest one, the life-changing one for me was when I won the gold award for the packaging for classified. That was the thing that changed my whole life. But I don't want to get into all that right now.
We'll
Oh, it
save it.
did? I think I feel like I've told that story. Haven't
Well,
I?
you've told the story about when you were away on the oil rigs and like the license thing and what happened there, and that changed your trajectory of life. But you never mentioned the Ice Awards.
Yeah.
Do a quick synopsis. We got time, hon.
Do we?
Just a quick little,
We really do.
just a quick Coles notes.
Oh my God. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I
So you were doing album art cover on the side,
yeah.
on top of your career already in the advertising world, and then you would go home.
Yeah,
and
it was
you
like
would
my
work
side
with-
hustle. I was
Right.
I was working with mainly rappers. Like every rapper in the city I worked with, like
Mm-hmm.
pretty much. Like the list of people I didn't work with is like J Main and like maybe only him. Like
That's it?
there was like literally like almost no one. I've
Yeah.
worked with every rapper in the city. And this was ages ago now. This was a long time ago. But I remember one day I got a call from Classified out of nowhere. And he needed to get some artwork done for his self-titled album.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go in his albums, I don't care what anyone says, if you go in his albums and look at all of them,
Yeah.
try and pull out the one that I did. Because it's definitely the best one, in my opinion. And I got a lot of accolades for it, I got to say. I mean, I went up and won the Gold Packaging Award for that album art.
Right.
And it was huge for me because, I mean, like, the Ice Awards like can be like a little stuffy at times. It's like it tends to be the Newfoundland tourism show every year. Like they just go in and crush everything and win every award at the show. Like
It's not so boring.
I'm not even kidding you. Like they have a table just for the Newfoundland Tourism Awards. Like the ice buckets just line up. I'm not even kidding you. Like I think it's Target that does them, and just.
But are they worthy of winning? Like, are
they're
amazing?
bomb. But it's like, oh my god, like we get it. There's icebergs in Wales. Like,
right? Yeah.
Sweet. Like it's they're really well done. They're really well done, and they always have like a little witty line with it and everything. But it's like we get it. It's bomb there. Like, can we show some more cool stuff? So anyway, I got up there and like went up on stage and I was all tatted up. And I remember I was wearing like a paisley hat and like this like black vest that matched it and everything. I just like I feel like I had like a vibe about me that day, and I went up and won a packaging award for a rap album, and it's like it was awesome.
That's cool.
And so I ended up getting a new job because of that. There was some people in the audience that
oh, right, for famous folks, right?
yeah, and they noticed me up there and were like, man, this guy's got like a whole like aesthetic to him that we are digging. Like he's kind of
that's just the look they were going for.
Yeah, just kind of
like
maybe like a little bit more a little more grit and edge to me, I guess, a little bit. So they brought me in to be the art director there, and it changed my whole life. It changed everything about everything in my life, winning that award that night.
That's cool.
How did that
so
come
can
up?
you nominate us, please?
yeah, I don't know.
So come full circle. This could change our whole lives, guy.
Yeah, next year Oprah's sitting with us.
We just have our fancy little award.
Yeah.
I've won one award one time. Actually, one time I won an award in grade 6. This is coming back to me for a poem. I wrote a French poem and I won. But,
really? I never knew this.
Mm-hmm. And then I won a John Minter award. I think that was his name. Like, you know, when they have names for awards. And it was in grade 6. And my teacher gave it to me out of the whole school. Grade 6 was my year for poems and for this. And I guess it was just for me being a kind person. It was just the sweetest thing. And of course,
where's
me
the
being
poem?
Me,
Can we hear the poem?
I know. Hey, you don't even care about the other one? About me winning for the whole school? So that was cool. But fast forward to a couple years ago, and I was nominated from the Influence Agency as, what was it? Lifestyle, family, something. And I won. And that was so crazy cool. And I feel like actually sometimes I even think of that to this day. It's sitting on the bookshelf. And when I'm having a moment and I'm like, why am I doing this? I look at the award and I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember. People
my
like
little
me.
award over there.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway.
Did you know? Yeah, you knew this.
What?
In grade 4, how I won the public speaking contest?
Yeah, what did you talk about again?
Chili.
Your trip or something?
Chili, the place.
Oh, yeah.
And that was my opening joke. I was like, and I was speaking in French, which I can't even do anymore. I totally forget. But I was up in front of the school doing a presentation on chili, and then I was like, and not the kind you eat. And like, everyone was, all the teachers were like, good job.
Yeah, funny.
Yeah, man, he's funny.
That's cute.
If you could picture, it was literally like Sage on a stage. I feel like him.
Something I find so interesting about the French language, just to totally go off here a little bit, is that I grew up, like, my grandmother is French. In fact, if you speak to her, she's 96 years old now, and like she has a French accent. It can be hard to understand. Yeah. And my mother was born and raised like French, went to French school. So I also was in French immersion, and then I actually graduated from university with a French minor. And now it's not in me either. And I just find it so interesting. It's one of those things that like you have to keep up with it or else you completely lose it.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I do find that when I drink alcohol, like I went to Montreal one time and I was a little bit tipsy and it was just spewing out of me. Yeah.
No.
I swear. And I was like, where are these words coming from? But I think it's because my brain was like, chill out. Like if you don't get the words right, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
You're not focusing so much
a
on
couple
it.
drinks for bed tonight.
Yeah. Anyway.
Je m'appelle Sheridan.
Yeah.
It's the only line I know.
Yeah.
At one point, I could fluently speak French. Like, I totally agree. It gets lost if you don't really... It's in there. It's just buried.
Well, you and I actually had a bit of not an argument, but we talked about French and the kids learning French here in Nova Scotia. And ultimately, I decided that it wasn't as important as it was in Ottawa, being like a government city and stuff like that. Because you said, you're like, when's the last time you used French? And I'm like, that's a good question.
Well, things will get a little bit easier over the coming years, too, because now, like... Now, like,
you could write a whole thing in ChatGPT.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Translate to French.
Yeah, so now rather than using Google to do it, I'll just translate stuff with ChatGPT now. I'll just plug in and say, translate this to French, and it does it perfectly.
There's an app when you go.
I think.
When you travel.
I see the accent aigus every now and then, so I'm like, yeah,
good job, Matt.
Yeah, baby.
When you travel, there's an app now, right, where you can like translate just right then and there.
Yeah, you can take a picture of a sign As Tim and I were doing it in Japan, you take a picture of the sign, it'll tell you what the heck it is.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Actually, I don't even think you need to take a picture. I think you can hover. Yeah, you do. You hover your camera on your phone in front of it. I don't know why I'm holding this with two hands like an old woman.
Is that how you hover?
Yeah. But yeah, you just hold your phone up in front of the sign, and it'll actually change the words on the sign to English.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't even know where to start because, I mean, the fires had happened, and that was before my birthday, right?
The fires were right after my birthday. It was right before, a week before your birthday.
And just for demographic purposes, we lived about an exit away from where the fire started. And in fact, Sage's daycare is right up where it started, right?
Literally, yeah.
Where,
basically, like a couple doors down.
Yeah, and so we drive up there now, and like many of the homes are no longer there, or they have things that need to be fixed and stuff. And, in my lifetime, I don't think I've ever been a part of something like that. Have you? Like, have you ever been around a wildfire? Or
Not
close
that
to?
close. I mean, I've seen them before. Like, there's been a few in this province that have been like, there was one out in, I want to say it was Porter's Lake.
Okay.
And it was massive. Like, I remember being in the city and looking out, and it looked the same thing. Like,
Right. So I think that I was very, because I had a social media platform and I really wanted to get the word out as much as I could, like with, helping people find places to stay and to sleep and where to go and where to donate. Because so many people, and I find this happens a lot, is so many people want to help and they just don't know where to start or where to go. So that was great that I was able to do that. And then we evacuated. The smell was really bad, and we left for a little bit, for a couple of days. And it's funny, well, it's not funny, but in Ottawa when I went, because I just went with the big kids a couple of weeks back, there was also terrible air quality there. And what's on my face? What is it?
Well, you noticed me noticing it?
Yeah, what is it?
I think your eyelashes.
Already? Okay,
they
we're
might
going to
be-
talk about that in a sec.
Okay, no, yeah, you're good.
Okay.
There you go. You're stunning, Sheridan.
And in
Just a dreamboat.
And in Ottawa, it was really bad as well. Like, I would open my mom's door and I could smell the fires, and I think they were coming from Quebec.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's just one of those things where it's like, thank goodness nobody here was injured and everybody was able to get out, but it was just unbelievable, really.
I think what will happen too is, as these things become more prevalent in our lives, I think it's something that we'll like really feel the effects of 20 years from now. Like, apparently the carcinogens that you breathe in when when there's wildfires going on, they call them, like, and I might butcher this, but I think they're called forever chemicals.
Okay.
So once they're in your body, they never leave your body. And small traces of it don't really do much, but they're there.
Right.
So then the more of it that you're exposed to over the course of your life, it basically compounds up and eventually hits this breaking point where you end up with, like...
With what?
I want to say that some of the effects are like memory loss. Like, I think it can like kind of lead into
Really?
what's that, the disease
Dementia?
called? Like some kind of like Alzheimer's and stuff, and then obviously like respiratory problems. And
Well, I don't know this for a fact, but you and I were both saying, like, after the fires and like the weeks thereafter, we were absolutely exhausted at 6 p.m. And I'm like, I don't know if that relates or not, but it was kind of fishy that
I
both
think
you
it
and
does. Yeah.
I'd be interested to hear anybody else's perspective that lives close by and if they also experienced those same things. But so that happened, and then the cord thing happened, and then I went to Ottawa, and we've just kind of been,
I've been on the wave runner a bunch.
Yeah. So,
Oh, my God.
so here we are now, and
Gotta get back in our groove.
we do.
Get back in the groove again. I love doing this.
Yeah, it's really fun for us. And also, in between all of this, if you didn't have a chance, I did tell Matt that I wanted to talk about this today on the podcast. But if you didn't happen to see his story, there was an email sent to me, and I'm going to read it word for word so that
wow.
other people. Yeah, I
wow.
think this could spark a really good.
Wow.
I think this can spark a really good conversation. I think that there are a lot of feelings to it. I think that
I can't even believe we're giving the airtime to this thing, but all right.
okay.
We can do it. I mean, that's fine.
Why
But-
not? It's first of all,
my
it's
God,
a
it's
great conversation. This
Sure.
is great. Are you kidding me? Think about this. The little the reel. It's gonna be like Matt da da da, and people are like,
yeah.
I better go watch. It's clickbait. But I do want to talk about it, and I also want to say that leading up to this email, Matt and I were in a big argument. Do you remember that?
Were we?
Oh yes, and I got the email while we were in an argument.
Oh, I remember you mentioning something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so Matt and I were in an argument, and I was trying to remember what it was about today, because I find oftentimes you argue with people and you're like, what were we even fighting about? but I do remember what it was about. And I just want to talk about that as well. Me and depression, remember?
Yeah.
It's coming back to you now. So I'm trying to think. And don't you remember too, I started crying and you were like, oh my God, Sheridan has emotion. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Up in the bedroom and I was crying and, in my mind, I'm like, man, this would have been good if it was on the podcast. But I just think that it's something interesting to talk about in relationships and in you finding yourself as an individual and also having to work with your partner and help them and kind of like understand where they're coming from and whatnot. Do you have anything to say about that or you just want me to go off?
No, I'm good. If you want to go through it, I'm sure I'll have plenty to say once you do that, but.
Well, I think that we started arguing. I can't remember what was like the catalyst of it, but it came down to, I think, me not seeming happy around the house. And I will say that I think, and I've thought about this a lot in my head, and I think that because of the way that you grew up and because of the way that you are now, you are very grateful for everything that you have. And you mention that all the time. You're grateful for your house, for your kids, for your health, for your job, for all the amazing, incredible things that we have. And for you, oftentimes you'll look at me and you'll say like, well, but we have all this stuff. Like, why can't you put a smile on your face? Right?
Yeah.
I would say it's kind of like the crux of it, really. And, I use...
But that seems super shallow, though. Like, I wouldn't paint a picture like I'm over here like, oh, we have nice things, so you should smile. That's not how I am as a person at all.
But no, I understand.
That's not, I know, but don't put me in that brush, that category of shitheads. That's not my style at all. I'm very much like, if you have your health and your family and your friends, that should be enough to put a smile on anyone's face.
Right.
Then you sprinkle in like all of these amazing extra things that we have in our life, like the pool and stuff like. I think on the surface it looks like we're extremely lucky. It's not the word, but what is it? What's the word? We're
fortunate?
We're very fortunate and very. I'm a little rusty right now, but we're very fortunate people to have the things that we have. Mm-hmm. I just don't want to be painted as like a shallow person. It's like we have nice things, so you should smile.
I don't think that's what I meant.
Okay.
I think I meant like, you think of how fortunate we are and how lucky we are to be where we are right now, and you just think like, hey, Sheridan, like, why are you having such a hard time?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not saying that you're shallow. That's just saying you're over there like, yes, I love my life. Look at all these great things, that we're lucky to have in this life that we live. And that I sometimes mope around, which is a true fact. And so we got to talking about it. And, I said to Matt, I was like, well, don't you think that I don't want to feel this way, right? Like that I don't want to feel sad or... Well, I used my dad as a great example. Dad, love you. I know you're listening. And I said... Because we were talking about, this was us like trying to dissect it all. And Matt and I were sitting down in the playroom talking about it. And I said, I use my dad as an example because he struggled with substance abuse for a long time. He also had many things in life and was fortunate and had a great family and all this kind of stuff. And he still had a hard time finding happiness. And, it kind of even can sort of even trickle into Theo and his diagnosis and, mental and ADHD and things like this and how you can't always perceive it on the outside, but it's there on the inside, And I guess what I wanted to say, because I'm like, this isn't really going anywhere, but what I just wanted to say was that I think I had a realization after we spoke about it, because I was even talking about sex, even talking about going on to do things with children and like going and doing all these fun things, and that sometimes it seems more exhausting than enjoyable. And I think there's like a kind of hard thing to say where it's like, is it just being a mom and you're exhausted because I've never been so tired in my life? Or is it because I have depression, Mm-hmm. So I told you I wanted to explore that, and I do. And yeah, pulls out a dairy milk. The amount of snacks that Matt always has in his pockets. And you were on board with that, and I think that it's actually something I'm kind of excited about. It's funny because I'll do everything for my children and I'll do it right away, getting Theo in there, like if Kaya, like anything for the kids. But when it comes down to mom, I'm always last for some reason. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm going to put myself first and I'm going to start, I want to go in and I want to talk to somebody and I want to go see a therapist or whomever. And try and be like a better version of myself. And I think after we had that fight and that argument, and like you were there and like, you know, supporting me, and I was feeling better about it, that I think, unless I'm wrong, that think like I've been feeling better lately and like realizing, you know, what I need to figure out and that sort of stuff. And I'm happy about that. So I don't know. I just think sometimes it's important to talk about like depression and things like that and like normalize it because it's not always normalized. So
no, that was, you hit the nail on the head for sure. Yeah.
And so into that, as Matt and I were having our little like tiff until we made up, I received an email, and this
I was wondering how you were going to connect the dots on this. I was
Here we
like,
go.
yeah, all of that, and then the email.
So this email came to me from somebody, and as Matt stated in his Instagram story, if you happen to see it, because you didn't keep it up for 24 hours, because then it was my birthday. It's coming to me now.
I took it down because it was your birthday. Was
it
the
was
next
my
day.
birthday.
I didn't want that shit.
You don't want the bad juju. And
what word did you just say?
Juju.
What is that?
Bad juju, like the bad vibes. I'm pretty sure, unless I just made that up.
No, I've heard people say that before, but I never knew what the word was. Juju?
Yeah, like Juju.
A bad juju.
Yeah, I'm going to look it up right now so that I don't sound like I'm nuts.
No, I've heard people say it. I just never knew it. I thought you were saying
juju.
jube. But then you said jube. I was like, I like jubes. And then you said juju. I'm like, what even is?
A superstitious belief in the karmic consequences of an action or behavior, usually negative in connotation.
And it's a juju.
Yeah.
A bad juju. Huh.
Yeah.
Is there a good juju?
I don't know. Can juju be good? Good juju exists within and without. It is a smile freely given to a stranger, a helping hand to a child, aid to a person in need, or
My nickname should be
juju.
Juju. Always smiling.
So
Always
anyway,
smiling.
so I received an email. Yeah, that's important. It's like, it's important, guys.
It's the most important thing in the world. It is. It is. It is.
So I just want to read it, and I want to read it because I think that it's going to spark a bigger conversation into the idea of how sitting down for 1 hour and speaking, or even celebrities where you get like little tidbits of their lives, you can just assume things from people, which isn't necessarily fair. So I'm going to read it. Okay. So it's titled Matt Smith. And and also,
no, like my name is like the size of my arm at the top of this email. Like it's an email. It's not even like.
But I also do want to say, and I'm almost positive because this person is a listener, that they're probably going to be tuning into this, and that's okay with that.
My God, of
I
course
think
they
that
will.
it's great. I think it's great to have this conversation.
No, it'll be like their alarm clock in the morning. Yep. Here's my airtime. Anyway, keep going.
Oh, Matthew.
It'll be fine.
Okay, here we go. In a recent podcast, Matt expressed his appreciation towards Conor McGregor. And now, do you want to take that back a little? Because after that podcast, I think he's done some pretty...
No, it's before and after. How do you want to approach this?
Let me read the whole thing.
You want to read the whole thing, then we'll double back? Because I could say something about that.
No, we'll double back. In a recent podcast, Matt expressed his appreciation towards Conor McGregor. Conor is cocky. Not everyone likes him. He's a small man with big energy and can be extremely quick to speak and be disrespectful. Feels a lot like your Matt. Something we won't see Conor do is tell his woman how she was way better looking when they first met, describe how her body was way better, and she's not a 10 anymore. Sick. I could puke listening to the things you laugh off as Matt talks about you. Matt goes on saying he's proud of you and adds but to every compliment, or little low blows to every true accomplishment. Of course, couples can help each other by discussing where they can grow, change, and better themselves. But my goodness, can you imagine any other woman putting up with Matt the way you do? The anxiety and anger that pulses through me when speaking on your appearance and how you don't do anything to his likings enough is wild. Do you think he'd be with you if you weren't a money power couple? Who would you be in his eyes with your current body, current sex drive, and a quote unquote regular job? Would 2023 Matt Smith be into you at all? Matt doesn't understand your OCD/anxiety with certain tasks. He wants you to go out of your way to compliment his hard work when the only way he compliments yours is by showing you how he helped you get there. Every thought you have, he scoffs at. He takes full advantage of you having a slight ditzy personality to make him feel smarter. I want you to be happy, Sheridan. So happy and love, Sheridan. This man is off his rocker. It's so tempting to go back through podcasts and quote all the horrendous things he said to you and about you and take away his giggles that soften the blow. It would be a huge eye-opener for you. So that was sent the day before my birthday on June 6th. And I remember the feeling when it first came in my inbox, because we know this person, we know her, and I felt I also felt sick to my stomach. First and foremost, because I didn't know if I even wanted to tell you. I thought to myself, oh my gosh, should I just slip this under the rug and never mention it again and just continue on? That we had that argument and we were sitting there and I showed it to you. I said, I also have to tell you something. And you're like, what is it? And I was like, well, I just got this email. And I turned it and I showed it to you. And I will say your reaction, you did not even get upset about it. Like you kind of just were like, okay, I get it. And then that was it. And I was like, oh wow, okay, so we're not getting like angry about this. And I just think that you know, when we first started this podcast, I knew and I know that we talk very freely on here. And even at times we have arguments and we bicker and whatnot. And people get to really see our relationship and the way we communicate and just all the little like details. I don't think I ever thought I would receive an email like that. So, like that. Anyway, what do you want to say about it? Is there something you want to say about it? Because we've talked about it quite a bit since. Yeah. And
well, I mean, I wouldn't say quite a bit.
No, it's not like it's like our every night. We're like, how about that email?
Well, that email.
We certainly have talked about it a bit in length and like trying to. Oh, and also this is this is so mad. I literally said to him, let's not share this with anyone. Let's just talk through this. Next thing I know, I'm upstairs, like click on his story. It's on Instagram. I'm like, this is such a Matt thing to do. Oh my God. You're such a Gemini sometimes.
Well, no, I think, I think, you know, I'm definitely, you know, people love saying like, you know, I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks about me. Like people say that.
But
they think they're cool saying it. Yeah. It's like in my whole life, I've only ever met a couple people that just don't let things bug them at all. Mm. I think it'd be pretty hard to sit here and say like when people say things that I know deep down are true, it bugs me a lot. It's a character flaw. It's like I know I slipped up. I know it. You know, like when I made the comment in one of the earlier episodes about tattooed people and how I think it can be trashy and stuff. Like, I just think my word choices were just really shitty. People said it to me, and I felt really bad. Like, I lost sleep that night. I was like, man, what a piece of shit thing to say. Mm-hmm. And then the very next week, whenever the hell we were recording, I came right on and said it. When you read that email to me, it was so out of left field and made no sense to me that I was like, this doesn't bother me because this isn't at all how I feel about you. Mm-hmm. Like the thing about like, literally there's not a morsel of truth to any of it. But I mean, like the thing about your accolades and how I take credit for what you do, that's absolutely absurd. You've like what? Yeah. I think everything that you've accomplished in your life, you've done on your own. I mean, there's certainly times where I've helped you and you've helped me with my work. Like I never complete a project that I work on without bouncing it off you and getting your honest opinion on stuff. But I mean, the only reason this show is a thing and the only reason we're even a thing is because of you and your hustle and drive. You're crushing it. I almost feel bad even talking about this shit. And like, wondering if I would be in, like, it almost actually sounds like she's kind of half dissing you if you actually listen to the way she words it. Mm. Would Matt be into you with your current body and it's like, are you kidding me? I'm obsessed with you. Mm. Like,
and you do make that very with your known body. A lot. Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? And see, here's where I think this maybe got lost in translation a little bit. Is like sometimes if you're only listening and not watching, like I could have had my arms in the air. And I remember when I made that comment where I was like, it could be perceived as like when you were like 24 or whatever, when we first met, I was like, you were more beautiful. And I had my arms up in the air doing like bunny ear, like air quote kind of thing. And then I went on to say that I'm much more into your body now. I kind of a spin-off note for this. I mean, I think people have their types. I think everyone does. Like whether you want to admit it or not, there's still like if you were like playing a video game and you were like create the most sexy person that you would be into, like in a video game, like an avatar kind of thing, you would be like, oh, and like create your character kind of thing. And I think everyone kind of like has an idea in their head of what their their like ideal look would be. But then I'll be the first person to say there's people out there that aren't like visually what I would go for in a human being that are so sexy to me for a million other reasons. And I can't remember who I was talking about this, but I brought up Lizzo the other day. Like Lizzo does absolutely nothing for me, you would think, but then I actually think she's so sexy. Like her energy and her joie de vivre and her personality and everything. And then it makes everything about her beautiful because her confidence exudes. And it's just like this aura that just draws you into her. Like you can't not just want to be around her and kiss her. She seems amazing. Like she's just awesome. Yeah. And like, I don't know. So that's all a crock of shit too. And then the Conor McGregor thing. I mean, okay, I brought him up one time. I can't even really remember what I was saying about him, but like Conor McGregor is a giant piece of shit. Absolutely. But that you can't, and this is the same thing that I said about Kanye West a gazillion years ago too, is that like, at what point do you strip a human being's entire life work away because of a handful of shitty situations?
Well, I think a lot of people do.
Well, okay. But I mean, it's weird how we pick and choose who we do it to as well. Like,
actually, do you remember?
Like, we still listen to Michael Jackson's music.
So, it's, right.
No. Let me just finish this point, though, and then you can jump in, okay? Yeah. The Conor McGregor thing, it's like, if you watched him from probably around I'm going to say like 2013 to like 2016, I would say. Like, there was like a 3-4 year window there where he was one of the most inspirational men that ever walked the earth. His rise from welfare to being worth $100 gazillion, raising a family, and just like the way that he put the energy out there and then fulfilled on his dreams is super inspiring to me. Is the way that he treats his wife and cheats on her every other day and punching random pedestrians at bars. Like, do I co-sign that? Absolutely not. It's honestly, it really sucks because in a lot of ways in life I've looked up to him and it's just so tarnished now. Like I honestly in so many ways can't stand him now. So it's not like I got some big circle jerk with Conor McGregor going on. Like did I enjoy his rise and his dreams and his fulfilling on what he said he would do? Absolutely. I think any successful person could look at that and derive inspiration from it. But do I like mold my life around Conor McGregor's mantra as a human in 2023? Absolutely not.
Right.
He's trash.
Right.
He's the worst.
Trash, that word.
He's bossy.
So after that email, because I mean, I've received a lot of messages on my Instagram that aren't that long, but I've received messages from people feeling a certain way about me. And as you know, I'm always one to like open conversation and be like, okay, let's talk this through. And I think, well, as you made a comment, you're like, let's get her on the podcast here. I guarantee almost, I'm not going to make a stat or pretend like I know what I'm talking about, but I think that in this world, there's just such a big lack of communication always. I really do feel that way. And that's why when these people message me and you're like, why are you giving them the time of day? You have so many other people that are sending you these lovely messages. And I'm like, yeah, but then you end up talking and then it ends up being like hugs and kisses at the end. And I think that there's something really special to that.
There is.
I also think that, and I've said this so many times before, and I'm not necessarily sure if she was trying to hurt you or to try and make me see. I don't know, but let's just say she was trying to hurt you. Let's say that was the case. I think that hurt people definitely hurt people.
Yeah.
And I think that, like I don't know if I've said this on the podcast or just in my brain, but, or I think I said it last episode, actually. You're not going to be frolicking on the beach, living your absolute best life, and then roll over to Instagram and be like, fuck this guy, and this guy sucks. Like, it just doesn't happen like that. It's when you're feeling shitty about yourself and when something's like, and you just want to kind of like everyone to like feel that energy of you feeling shitty as well.
Yep.
So if that was the case, then I can obviously understand and empathize with that. And I always do. And I think that, I mean, I'm just going to toot my own horn, but I do think that since you and I have been together, I kind of roll that onto you a little bit and just say like, let's be more empathetic here. And like,
for sure.
Definitely like, in that regard. And then I also think that if she was trying to warn me and to let me open my eyes and see, I am going to say that I think that when you're only on a podcast for 1 hour, I would say a week, but we're kind of not a weekly thing here right now, that it can be really hard to understand the nuances of a relationship. Like, our relationship is derived a lot of times off of jokes. It really is. And I think, when, for example, if you were to talk about, and let's say you did hypothetically say like your body now, like versus back then or whatever.
I would never say that.
No, I know, but let's just say that.
Because I'm so about body positivity. Yes.
Right.
Like,
but
I weigh 220 pounds.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
Not that. Did you weigh yourself recently?
No, but I know that's roughly what it is.
Right.
I've had a lot of brisket lately. We'll say. Trust
Yeah.
me, you got to be happy in your own skin. Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
Well, I kind of lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
But no, it's fine. That's no problem. I was just gonna say that to this person, I have been in many relationships before you. I would say that I was definitely in an abusive relationship coming up to my relationship with you, certainly mentally, emotionally, at times physically. And I think I remember my friends confronting me about it at that point. In fact, I lost friends over it and regained them later. I had people that just simply couldn't watch me suffer like that, whereas I did not feel myself doing that. I really didn't have any clue at all. And I think coming out of that relationship, I was so much more aware. Like, when you're kind of like a bird's eye looking down and you're like, oh my God, and you look at everything that's kind of transpired. So I feel like in my relationship with you, that like there's, in my opinion, nothing better, because we have open communication. We talk as much, almost too much as we can. We're very attracted to one another. That's obvious, certainly on your end. Maybe sometimes I lack in showing it, but I'm trying my best to do a better job. I think we're good parents together. And like, I feel so grateful for our relationship. So I feel like if that's not what's shown on the show, then that certainly sucks. And if somebody actually perceived that from our podcast, and that stinks, because I think that we have an amazing relationship. And of course, every relationship is going to go through ups and downs. And I'm sorry, but if you have somebody on Instagram that you follow and they're not active online, and all you see are their Father's Day and birthday and whatever posts, right? You see that funny meme where it's like, oh, here we go, everyone's posting their Father's Day picture when you just bitched about them at our group hangout last week, right?
Yeah.
Because those are the secretive things that you don't necessarily see online. But I think we come on here and talk very openly about things that other people wouldn't talk about online and into the social stratosphere. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so that email was, it was something. And if you do want to reach out again and we can chat about it, we're here to chat.
I said straight up, man, if she wants to come on here, next episode, come hang out.
Yeah.
Come hang out.
Right.
I bet you she would.
And you know what?
This happens.
No, but I was going to say sometimes, and we talked about this last episode, sometimes people just genuinely don't like you.
Yeah,
not you
fine.
Specifically. I'm saying everybody. Like, there's people out there that don't like me. There's people that, like, just sometimes people just don't like one another. That's fine. But you have to be kind no matter what.
Did you know
right?
that everybody sees color differently?
Well, what do you mean? Like,
if you could like put a robot inside my head and a robot inside your head and like analyze how we see things, you see things differently than I do. Mm-hmm. It's a fact. Everyone sees things differently.
Cool.
Like, colors are like tweaked a little bit. Like, the greens behind that wall for me would be just like slightly off on the spectrum to what you see behind me. Like, we see things different. And I only say that as like a dumbed down version of like, everyone in this world perceives things their own way. And I think that, everyone's not for everybody. I mean, people could look at, I bet you 9 times out of 10 people look at the way that you and I speak to each other and they're probably more inspired by it than anything. I mean, we have a really good time together. We have a freaking show that we sit here and like open the doors up on and let people into our lives every week. Like, I think that honest, kind of candid, approach that you and I take to our lives together it allows people to it's very subjective to people. It allows people to poke holes in your life and everything. And it's something that you've been doing this online thing for a long time. I mean, it's been a part of your brand, and a part of what you do is that you are honest and candid with people online. For me, my online life has always been a little bit more curated. Like I don't really jump on live or do these kind of things very often until this show came around, where people got to really like see like a raw, authentic version of who I am in our relationship kind of thing. I've had probably hundreds of men write me and just say like really nice things about how like much it inspired certain aspects of their relationship, and women too, just like, you know, if we could change the lives of like one couple or one person and inspire them to think about something a certain way, or like to maybe like understand a man's perspective on things, because sometimes I think you get in like a little bit of a silo, and I think that a lot of your people, like the women that you surround yourself with online, a lot of them are also surrounded by other women. And men are kind of siloed off too. Like I follow a whole bunch of men and barely any women. And it's just kind of like, you kind of like stick to what you know kind of thing. Yeah. So like when your eyes are open to the other side of a table of like, that's not just my husband that thinks like that. I enjoy a lot of things about Matt, and he said that. Right. So like, maybe Tom was right all along, or like whatever the hell, you know what I mean? So like, I think I'm rambling in circles right now, but
no,
I think,
not at all, actually.
I think that, you know, it's, if the thing that I find so strange about this whole thing, because I totally agree with you, hurt people, and and it sucks, you know, I hate seeing anyone hurt. Like I really do. Like even anybody, honestly, like I think you'd be hard pressed to find a more emotional man than me. I cry literally every day of my life. I'm a very, you know, I like to think I have a big heart. I'm a pretty, I don't know why I'm stuttering my words so much today, but I think
we haven't been on here for months.
No, but normally these words come to me quick. Just like, I like to be a vulnerable person. I actually thrive in vulnerable situations. I find any time that I'm put on a podium or like someone's grilling me about something, I'm really good at kind of like absorbing that stuff and having things to say about it. Right. And I think that like the thing that I find really strange about something like this is like, rather than reaching out, like this person has seen me umpteen times. Right. Why not come up and say something? Like you were smiling in my face 2 months ago, taking my picture at the big bingo thing at the school. Like, how you gonna look me in my face and smile? Right. And then write my wife, my happy wife, a bunch of shit about our relationship. Right. I just don't understand. Like it would be one thing
to
if
the source.
No, but it would be one. I mean, and whatever. Maybe that would be like slightly intimidating for her to like approach a man and say something to his face. I get that totally, but why not like? I think if anything, this show should show that I'm open to any conversation with anybody. I'm not a violent person at all. Man, you could DM me like, man, some girl. I put up something bashing Trudeau the other day about the carbon tax and whatever, and then of course I got a flood of people like, yeah, bro, yeah, like, and then I had some people that were messaging me and they were like, and like think about it like, and then like there was some random person I think I won't drop handles right now, but some random woman messaged me, and then like instead of like texting her back, because sometimes I think emotion can kind of get lost in translation through text, I sent her like 3 or 4 voice notes, and then she wrote back and said that was her voice notes were the chef's kiss or whatever, and like, thank you for being so honest and like actually responding to me. And then it made me think a little bit differently about a few things as well, and I'm always open to those conversations. Baby. But I just think that like sending this like borderline like violent email to my wife about like how despicable I am as a human is such a weird thing. Like if you caught me down at the Toothy Moose or something and I was like cheating on my wife or something, like, oh my God, please inform my wife that I'm a piece of shit. But like, because I laugh a little at some of the things you say and apparently it's been perceived that I don't find you attractive through the way that she has absorbed.
But again, it's all subjective.
No,
right?
but I know, but like, why go on the offense and be like verbally violent about somebody when like there's no basis to it at all? Like it's not like I'm on here every day and I'm like, yeah, you fucking bitch. Right. It's not like I come on here and say things to you. Like, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's just mind-boggling that someone would do that to somebody. I just think it's very strange. And I don't know, like honestly, I have no, to say I have no hard feelings towards her might be like slightly a lie. I mean, like I actually passed her on the road the other day, and I was like, I could feel my blood pressure going up a little bit, more so because I just wanted to just say like, yo, what up?
Right.
Like, what? But honestly, like if this person, if you're listening right now, if you ever see me in public and want to just like shoot the shit for a minute, I'm always game. I'm a talker. I literally like, I'm in the superstore freaking aisle buying groceries and end up in like a 15-minute conversation with the person dinging my shit through. Like, I'll talk to anyone.
You know what was interesting, and something that I actually wrote down, and I find this interesting for me because I went home to Ottawa and I brought the big kids with me, and that was actually really, really nice because I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it, 3 is a crowd. Here we are with our 3 kids, but 3 is a crowd. And if you're gonna tell me otherwise, you're wrong, because in any circumstance, when you were a kid and you had 2 best friends, somebody was always left out. Like, 3 is a crowd. We knew this going into it. I'd said, like, my brother and I, was just the 2 of us. Like, you just end up having to get along and sort through things. Once you have a third, it's kind of just like, oh, well, I'm going to pick this person today, and you're my favorite brother, and things like this. And it's definitely shown in our family dynamic. Now, when I brought Kaya and Theo to Ottawa, it was just the 2 of them, and it hasn't been just the 2 of them, honest to goodness, since Sage was born.
Yeah, 3 years.
Which is crazy. And it was so nice to see them playing, because I originally was just going to bring Kaya, and then she's like, well, can I bring Theo? And I was like, okay, because in my mind I was thinking, and I'm again just going to be honest, if it was just me and Kaya, it would have felt a lot more like a vacation. But when Theo was there, it was I probably had more to do than you hear with Sage, right? Because he woke up at 6:45. What are we doing today? Where are we going? When are we going here? You know, classic Theo stuff.
Oh yeah.
However,
Triathlon
on the flip side, I've never seen Kaya play more than that week. Like, we were up at the cottage, her and Theo. I looked at the clock, stayed in the water for 5 hours straight, jumping off paddle boards, looking with snorkels. And every time he asked Kaya to do something, she was willing to do it. And whether that be because he wasn't going to go then ask Sage if she said no, I'm not sure. But they had a fantastic relationship that week. And that was really special to watch. When I was there, we went to the boat races down at Mooney's Bay. Mooney's Bay? Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, Mooney's Bay.
The dragon boat races. That was fun. And I ran into somebody from high school. We just chatted for like 2 minutes, gave each other a hug. And I was like, nice to see you. Her daughter was there. She was telling me that her child goes to the same elementary school that she went to. And then we said goodbye and kind of went on our way. And I realized, like, of course, it was lovely to see her, but I'm very grateful that I live here and that I don't have, well, 2 things, that I don't see people that I went to high school with and I'm like, oh shit, who are you again? What's your name? Like, right? Because that would stress me out, which I know happens to you when you go to the school. You're like, oh, I went to school with that person. But also,
everywhere we go.
but also that I don't have any preconceived notions of anybody here in Nova Scotia. And I think that's really cool. And I feel like it's made me realize that more people should have that attitude now, later on in life, even if they know somebody from the past, because I meet people now at face value, which is really cool. Like, I don't have these ideas of like so-and-so that I meet now that went to high school at Bedford and was a breezy and hung out with this person and la 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 la. Like, I have none of that. So when people see me hanging out with people maybe on Instagram that follow me, they're like, oh my God, she's hanging out with so-and-so. But I don't know anything, not to say it was bad, but just in general. Yeah, but I don't have any idea about these people except for me coming here 9 years ago and getting to know them now, like as adults. And I think that there's something really cool to that, as to just, I mean, of course, we could go on the flip side and say there's cool to like having history and knowing people from elementary, but just in the sense that like, it doesn't matter what you did in the past. I just know you for who you are now. Yeah. And I think that's really cool. Mm-hmm. Don't you think?
Yeah.
And I think that more people should just appreciate people at face value and kind of like, you know, take in who they are now and forget about the rest. Yeah. And I'm very grateful that I have that here in Nova Scotia.
Why did that come up?
Just because I was in Ottawa and I ran into somebody.
Oh, okay.
And like, I know, and she's lovely and I know about her and I know who she dated in high school and like she was with some guy that I was, you know what I mean? But like, who cares? Like, it's nice to see you now, give you a hug and, you know, go on my merry little way.
Well, and people grow up a lot. They say the human brain hasn't finished developing until 25. Yeah. And like, I know for sure, like you come out of high school and think you know everything, right? You're hot shit. It's like, you are so young at 18 years old. Like it takes another decade to kind of iron the kinks out and kind of figure out who you are as a person. And like,
Do you know what? Even me dating you is a good example, because I imagine people see me around here and they're like, oh, I remember Matt when he was wearing do-rags and graffiti and smoking weed outside in the high school. Right? And
Pretty much.
That's cool, whatever. I'm sure you were always a kind person, but just in general, people have this idea of what you were when you were a kid growing up. I don't have that. I just met you when...
The thing is, I feel like I literally haven't changed.
Oh my God.
No, like I feel like I don't smoke weed anymore, actually, but...
You should.
It probably wouldn't hurt.
I think that you should.
But it's funny because like there's so many people that I'll bump into like, you know, that I haven't seen. And I graduated 20 years ago this year.
Oh,
03,
my.
Yeah, I know. Woo! And like, you're not that far behind.
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Anyway, I see people now and I'm just like, I would say more often than not, it's almost like a curveball a little bit. I'm like, oh yeah, all right. Like it didn't see that coming kind of thing. I bet you people would see me, see the way that I dress, see the type of person that I am, and be like, man, you like didn't change at all.
Right.
Like I feel like time's been good to me, and like I never. The thing that is so important to me is having a zest for life. I think is so important. And Theodore. It's very apparent in Theodore. Theodore will be 85 doing cartwheels, guarantee it. Like it's just who he is. I think that having that zest for life is really important, and I think that, you know, I followed my dreams a lot, like Conor McGregor did. I followed my no, but I did like people like the.
That's
fact,
the funniest thing you've said on the show. No, that's literally that you circled back to that. Yeah,
much like Conor, baby. But no, just like. All I did in high school was art. It's the only thing I cared about. Everything else I just did to get the mark in school, but art was like my thing. It was my thing, and the fact that like here I am later in life, like doing creative things. It absolutely makes sense for me. Hold on, you don't even need to lift that up because I know what I want to talk about.
I can't wait. What do you want to talk about?
Well,
How long, actually, I know I always do some people are like, Sheridan, shut up, but how long have we been talking? Because I'm not sure I can hold in my bladder watch.
You're going to hold it in.
Okay.
You're going to hold it in.
Okay, so this is the final point. Hope it's a good one.
No. All I wanted to say is that the other day you were like, yeah, I don't know, a day or two ago, I can't remember when it was. You were like, oh my God, you hear about this Jonah Hill thing? And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. The guy's the man. I don't even know what you're talking about. Anyway, I was laying in bed last night, putting Sage down, kind of just rubbing his back, had my phone over here like this, and I saw this old Jonah Hill debacle, and I'm really curious of your take on all this.
Oh, you're going to put me on the spot?
Yeah.
So I follow this person named House and Habit, and I've been following her since...
She's the one that digs into everything, isn't she?
Yeah, I think I started following her when she was at the Epstein, like in the courtroom. And she continues on with the Britney Spears, with the Johnny
you know
Depp.
When you started following her? I know when it was.
When?
It was when the whole...
Amber Heard, Johnny Depp?
No. It was the Wayfair kid number, product number thing. That was crazy.
Yeah, so and it's funny because she has a lot of haters, as a journalist would, and then she has a lot of people that admire her. I am very neutral. I don't know anything about her. I just read what she posts. And then I signed up for her newsletters, and I actually received one.
Newsletters?
Yes, well, not newsletters, but like little things. And I got one this morning about Jonah Hill, because even I was kind of sitting on the fence being like, And this also brings up the point of what I was talking about people getting snippets of somebody's relationship and coming to conclusions.
Right where I wanted to go to this.
And that's okay. So for those of you that don't know the Jonah Hill situation, we're not a gossip podcast here, but basically Jonah Hill was dating this girl, a surfer girl, and I don't know how long they were together for.
A year.
Okay. And she she revealed screenshots as of recently, even though they've been broken up for about a year. And I know that because he met someone else and just had a baby. Yeah. So this is like, old news. And released screenshots of him calling him a narcissist and misogynist and all these things, and showed the text messages that he had sent to her. And since then, she's gained 50,000 followers, and she's gone back apparently and like went back to their old photos together and like rewrote captions like hiding misogynist in plain sight and like upward down smiley face or whatever. Like she took the time to do that. I don't know anything about Jonah Hill. I think he's funny.
You know plenty about him.
I don't, though. I mean, I've watched some of his movies, but like there's certain actors and actresses that I actually keep up on, like their Instagram and stuff. He's not one of them. When I see his video, like when I see him acting, I'm like, very cool, great actor. Like he seems like a fun guy is kind of where I'm at with that. I will say he also used to be much larger and he's lost a lot of weight. And I believe last year he said, please don't comment on my body anymore, like for mental health reasons. It's not a compliment to me. Like I want to be left alone.
Yeah.
He also deleted his Instagram and doesn't have social media because he says he's not promoting his movies anymore and he doesn't need it. So I feel like that's a lot of telling signs about him as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like doesn't want social media.
I would say on the surface when you want... Okay, so I feel like...
But wait, I'm not done. I'm kind of going off here.
Okay.
However,
I was going to piggyback
when I
and then
read
go back
immediately when I saw the screenshots, because people are obviously posting about it, I was like, ew, like the way he was talking was such a turn off. And it even reminded me back to like my past relationships, telling me what not to do, what not to wear, like how to act, don't be friends with guys. Like that all sucks. Okay. I'm not going to deny that. If I got a text like that from my boyfriend, I'd be like, you suck. Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
But the point that she said, and there was one line in here that I was like, this is just such a great point to me.
Oh, you've got ammunition over there. Look at
well,
you.
not ammunition, but where is it? Let me find it. There was one line that I was like, yes, that's exactly how I feel.
So I'm definitely going to play devil's advocate for a minute.
Okay.
And then I'm going to throw it back to you.
Okay. Well, you go ahead because I can't find it.
No. So when I first started reading it, I was reading it on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Are you listening?
No. But you can just talk.
Yeah, no.
I almost want to actually post this link because I can't verbalize it all, but Do
you have the point?
No, I'm going to find it, but I'm saying I want to post the link to this art or send this article somehow because I feel like it's a great... Oh, here it is. Persecuting people based on spliced conversations is one of the dumbest trends in current culture. Should I read that again? Persecuting people
Who wrote that?
Based on this girl. Like she's writing her whole thing, and this is just like
the girl that was his ex.
No, this is the person that wrote this.
Okay. I was going to say
persecuting people based on spliced conversations is one of the dumbest trends in current culture. I echoed the same sentiment during Depp's trial when the grim Honda Civic death texts were unearthed. No, he didn't want to actually put Amber's rotting corpse in a cheap car for thrills. He, like all of us, in private sentiments to friends, is allowed to be outrageous in language and expression. Mm-hmm. Do all truths need to be publicly aired? What does Sarah hope to gain? Like there's so much to this, and I don't want to sound like I'm on the side that the way that he spoke is acceptable, because I'm not. Like I said, I read the text and I was like, ew.
Yep.
We're not going to deny that.
Okay.
Like I read them, but then she also unveiled these other texts that apparently, like she had these like.
Why does that look so photoshopped?
No.
Did I just look
this
at
other girl, the girl that wrote the article, said she had other texts that she is unearthing because she knew this was going to happen like a year ago. Like he wrote to her, I know I don't need to be, but in the spirit of pure respect to our friendship and appreciation for each other, I did want to be transparent that I started dating someone recently. I'm sorry if that is painful. It just happened and I didn't want to not be transparent with you ever, as I care about you. Like we didn't see those texts. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. Like this is like, I don't know. What do you think about it?
Well, so when
because here's the thing about these things, you have to always be careful about what you say, right? Because people are going to feel a certain way either way. There's some people that are like, okay, this girl just wants 2 seconds fame, and like they probably spoke like that all the time and we're not seeing the other side. And then there's other people that are like, ew, he's a loser, and that's not cool.
You know who will have something to say about this?
Who?
Old Talina. She's gonna she's
like, add my voice at the end of the podcast.
She'll be so dialed in on this topic.
Yeah.
But you know, when I first read it, I was the same way. I was like,
there's also people that will just say you're a man, so you don't
Can
count.
I say 5 words?
You are allowed.
Okay. Oh yeah, you're a man. No,
but it's true.
Okay.
Go ahead. No, but no matter what, like, you know, you're kind of like, oh well, you're a man. Your opinion doesn't count. Like in situations like this.
No, because I definitely agree. I definitely agree that. Okay.
Can you imagine writing that to me though?
Okay. Let me just say this. Okay. And I have not pre-planned this, so I don't know how the hell I'm
going
to... No.
Yeah. The email comes full circle.
Yeah. Next time I'm apologizing here, I'll pre-apologize. No. So when I first read it, I was like, man, what a piece of shit, man.
Right.
It honestly threw me off because really like Jonah Hill.
Okay.
Like from all my vibes I've ever gotten to this guy, my first experience with Jonah Hill was on Superbad.
Never seen
and
it.
the dick, what?
I swear.
Oh my
know
God,
it's
the
crazy.
dick drawings in the lunchbox. It's one of the funniest things in the history of fucking movies. Like, it was so funny. He has an entire lunchbox filled with different style dick drawings that he
my
did in
God.
class. Anyway, it's so funny.
You would.
Friggin' great movie. We need to watch Superbad tonight. It's fantastic.
Yeah, supporting Jonah.
Anyway, and then 90s, the 90s, I think it's called.
Never seen
is
it.
what. No, you didn't see that when I watched it without you. It was like, man, it was like one of the best movies I've ever seen. And Jonah Hill directed it. It's his, basically, I think it's a movie that's kind of like it's kind of based on his life growing up in the 90s as a kid. It's bomb. It's a great movie. Anyway, so like I've always like really liked Jonah Hill, like in Moneyball and in everything I've ever seen him. I just really, really like him. I find with actors, even though they're typecast and they're like doing a role, they're being someone fake. I mean, I still feel like you get a vibe for someone.
Yes.
Like Joaquin Phoenix, I bet you he's funny and authentic and raw and real, but like a deep guy. I bet you could sit at a bonfire with Joaquin and like really get into the deep shit. I bet you Adam Sandler's so candid, so funny, so bomb. I bet you Denzel Washington would sweep you off your feet with a glass of wine. Like,
actually,
you kind of get a vibe.
Nice.
Really?
Many people have said, and so again, who knows what's true?
Yeah.
But in celebrity comments, a lot of will say Denzel's
I just
not
feel
nice.
like I just feel like even though they're acting in a movie, you still kind of feel their energy a little bit as a person.
Okay.
And I've always gotten this vibe off Jonah Hill that if now that I'm thinking about it, I've gotten a lot of vibes off him. Originally, I think he's the man. I think he'd be a blast just to be around. He likes the same music as me. I bet you would be rapping DMX in the car together. It would be awesome. But then he also seems like the type of person that's a bit of a broken man. He like strikes me as that from the surface, like watching from a distance. And like I feel like, yeah, like you said, like the deleting your social media thing, that's a telling sign. I think like the weight loss thing and kind of everything that he went through there, and just like just some various articles that I've read about certain things, and you just kind of like even how he was in that movie that we watched with him and
Yes, what was that?
with Nipsey Hussle's
with
ex
Lauren
there.
London. I forget what it was called.
What's
but
it called? Like The Couple or something like that?
I don't know.
Even in that movie, you could almost just kind of get a vibe off him that, like, you know, he's got some demons that he's been battling his whole life kind of thing. So then these text messages come out, and I'm like, man, like, really, Jonah, you're the man. What is this, bro? And then I went into a different form that wasn't like the Instagram, all the women bashing him, and went over to YouTube. Yes, it was YouTube, and I was watching someone talking about it. It was I forget the guy's name. He's super awesome on YouTube. Anyway, I was watching, and so of course his audience is all men.
Right.
And so then I started getting into the comments there, just like, what does the other sex feel about this situation? And it was crazy how many men were like, he did nothing wrong at all. Which I thought was just weird because I felt like he did, and then I kind of saw the other side, and I just want to pose the question. I'm just posing the question. Should we not all be allowed to set boundaries respectfully, and if you don't want to partake in the boundaries, then bow out of the relationship?
Okay.
I'm just saying it because I think, and here's what I'm going to say, it might even be what you're looking at right now. I think it's weird that he knew what she was. Like if I ran into you at like I don't know, like out for spaghetti. No, if I ran into you at some restaurant or something and really had no preconceived notion of you, and then like on that night I was like, you're great. Oh my God, wow, what a human being you are. And then laid down my which I never would do. I would never do this.
Right.
Like, here's my ABCs as to what my boundaries. If I was to do that, does that make it acceptable? I think it's kind of strange that like I don't know exactly when the timestamps on those are, but like you got into bed with a person that surfs. You know what she's into.
Definitely.
She wears bikinis on surfboards.
Yeah, and when you're
has
surfing like that, you're hanging out with a bunch of dudes.
Six packs and blonde hair, bomb-looking dudes.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, just the whole aura around surfing of like carefree, you know, ride the wave.
I think there are some, I think you can absolutely, and you should set boundaries in a relationship. If let's just say Jonah Hill is a broken man, is insecure, does have these issues, whatever that is, issues, and also we will never understand what it's like to be a celebrity in Hollywood. We will never understand what they go through, the demons that they face, we'll never understand. So I can't relate to this man at all, because it's not like I'm just sitting here running through books like, hey, Matt, you can't wear this out to the toothy. You know what I mean? Like, I'll never, it's not even, I can't even relate to him because of what his life is. We have no idea. In the article, it did also say that, you know, apparently he was very kind to all of her friends and was having them over to his beach house and they were all hanging out together, blah, 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 blah. So who knows what's true from what isn't. I do think you can set boundaries in a relationship. I think the way he worded them was sucky. And I do think if you did know the type of person you're getting into a relationship with, you shouldn't expect people to change. They are who they are, right? And this even goes back to my ex, another one. So many, hey, Matt. And I'll never forget, like, he knew who I was. And he was like, I don't want you wearing sweatpants. I don't want you swearing. I'd like it if you wore more makeup. And I'm like, do you know me? Yeah. I wear sweatpants and I swear and I don't wear makeup. Like, that's who I am. You can't come and try and change me. You are who you are, you know? So obviously this girl is a surfer girl and does whatever. She is who she is. So he probably shouldn't have set those outrageous boundaries and worded it like that.
What's really interesting? Our boundaries, as you're talking, I just started thinking about this. Like, the boundaries are based around his insecurities.
Right. Absolutely.
Which is a really interesting way to look at it. He probably has a lot of things in his closet about his weight. Sure. He's probably not very comfortable with his own body.
Well, as he says, he doesn't want anybody to talk about it.
I'm going to guess based on the couple things that, and oh my God, I feel like the girl that messaged you right now. But anyway, I'm just like, he may not be, we're making all these assumptions, but he may not be comfortable in his own skin. Mm-hmm. I bet you when he takes his shirt off, his pants and stuff, there's probably like some stretch marks and things like that. They probably like deep down bug him a little bit. So when he looks at this girl that's like, you know, we should have put the air quotes up right now, just so everyone, but like out of his league visually, okay? Mm-hmm. You don't think so she's gorgeous.
I'm just saying that I think I'm sick and tired of making physical appearances.
I know, but obviously okay, I'm trying to think of how to word this so I don't sound like a complete twat waffle.
You're saying okay, go ahead.
No, but Sheridan, he made it about looks so we can talk about it like looks, because he's saying you're not allowed to wear these things when you go out. Right. And that has nothing, if he was comfortable in his own skin and comfortable in the relationship, then why the fuck does it matter if the girl's wearing a bathing suit on a beach?
So would you care if I was wearing a thong and pictures?
Not at all. No, that's not, no, okay, I that probably came across the wrong way. I'm talking about visual thing because he made it about a visual thing. One of his things says, my boundaries are you, like, remove all your photos of you in a bikini.
Right.
I think he even said, like, anything that shows your ass or something like that. Right. It's like, she's a surfer, bro. Right. Like, you knew what you were getting into. And I think what it comes down to is your own insecurities. So then you have to kind of think of it as like, if she entered that relationship, does she need to accommodate his insecurities in the relationship and modify things so that the partner whom I would assume you're in love with feels more comfortable with stuff? I don't know. I just asking the question.
No, I know. And I think that this just comes full circle to us never knowing the full story and getting a freaking glimpse of a screenshot. And then we're just supposed to assume everything about some person?
Yeah.
That doesn't seem fair. And like I said, the screenshot sucked. But like, at least give the guy a chance. And he won't, because he doesn't have social media. And I assume, as many people do that are celebrities, they just let it ride because it's going to be, you know, nobody will care about it in a week's time. Like, that's kind of what happens. Something else will take over. But like, would it be nice to hear a full, like, each side of the conversation versus her just posting that and us being like, like, for sure it would. And to see some of her responses, like, how are we going to base something just based off of one person's message? Sucky message. Yeah. But it's not fair.
I'm so glad you're saying this.
That it's not fair to just get one little point.
Oh my God, it's almost like we thought this out before the episode started, because it's the perfect way to wrap this up based off everything we just talked about.
Yeah, it is.
Because you a glimpse into someone's life from a distance is not enough to define their entire character by.
No,
it's not. Mm-hmm. That's like the rule of life. It just isn't. So like, I bet you if you put her on that microphone, she'd have a whole bunch of amazing things to say about him and them, and just it didn't work out. And if you put Jonah on the mic, I bet you he'd say the exact same thing. Yeah. And you would love both of them for who they are, instead of like castrating someone over friggin' 3 text messages that you saw on Flipboard one day. Like, yeah.
It's so interesting, isn't it? Social media and the things that it can do nowadays. And like,
I'm ready to go.
okay, we're not recording another episode.
No, like
Matt's
I'm
let's
ready
do
to
another
go,
one.
but let's not fall behind here. I have a list. We could literally go change outfits, hit record, and start an hour.
Don't tell people our secret.
No, I have like a whole thing ready to go.
Like and subscribe.
So next episode,
Yeah.
I came across this article.
Matt, I can't hold it.
No,
in
you're
anymore.
gonna one sec. I just got to get this out. Pee in a can.
And I can't.
So I came across this article the other day. It was 10 phrases of. Okay, hold on. It was called 10. Waiting.
Oh
on
my
the
God,
internet.
I'm
No,
going to the
don't leave me.
bathroom.
Don't leave me. This is
Subscribe.
important. No, we're getting people back for next episode. It was called 10 phrases of affirmation your man desperately wants to hear. And so I went through all 10 of them and really enjoyed all of them. So that's what we're going to talk about next episode when we're back. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. It means a lot. Love you guys. You're the best. Peace.
It's the Two Gems Podcast.